October 8, 2025. Daily Bread. Passage. Acts chapter 14 verse 1 to 18. Key verse. Verse 15b. Title. Turn to the living God. Now at Iconium they entered together into the Jewish synagogue, and spoke in such a way that a great number of both Jews and Greeks believed. But the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles and poisoned their minds against the brothers. So they remained for a long time, speaking boldly for the Lord, who bore witness to the word of his grace, granting signs and wonders to be done by their hands. But the people of the city were divided, some sided with the Jews and some with the apostles. When an attempt was made by both Gentiles and Jews, with their rulers, to mistreat them and to stone them, they learned of it and fled to Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and to the surrounding country. And there they continued to preach the gospel. Now at Lystra there was a man sitting who could not use his feet. He was crippled from birth and had never walked. He listened to Paul speaking. And Paul, looking intently at him and seeing that he had faith to be made well, said in a loud voice, "Stand upright on your feet." And he sprang up and began walking. And when the crowd saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in Iconium, "The gods have come down to us in the likeness of men." Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. And the priest of Zeus, whose temple was at the entrance to the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates and wanted to offer sacrifice with the crowds. But when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of it, they tore their garments and rushed out into the crowd, crying out, "Men, why are you doing these things? We also are men, of like nature with you, and we bring you good news that you should turn from these vain things to a living God, who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. In past generations he allowed all the nations to walk in their own ways. Yet he did not leave himself without witness, for he did good by giving you rains from heaven and fruitful seasons, satisfying your hearts with food and gladness." Even with these words they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifice to them. Daily Bread Message. Paul and Barnabas, after leaving Antioch, went to Iconium, where they preached the gospel with great success. As a result, many Jews and Gentiles came to believe. However, as usual, when God works, Satan works, and opposition arose as some unbelieving Jews stirred up hostility against them. Despite this, Paul and Barnabas continued to speak boldly, performing signs and wonders to confirm their message. The result was that the city became divided, with some supporting the apostles and others opposing them. When a plot to stone them was discovered, they fled to Lystra and Derbe, where they continued preaching the gospel. Witnessing this miracle, the crowd mistakenly believed the apostles were gods. The local priests prepared sacrifices in their honor. Distressed, Paul and Barnabas tore their clothes and urgently corrected the misunderstanding, stating that they were mere humans proclaiming the one true God. They urged the people to turn from idolatry to the living God, who provides for all. When people are not rooted in the Word of God, they end up worshipping any fancy thing that catches their eye. They confuse these for what is worthy of worship. But only the one true God is worthy of our worship. Prayer. Father, many people are confused and do not know where to turn. Help them to turn to the one, true, living God and worship you alone. One word. Turn from worthless things to the living God,